Chrysler Concorde. In 1998, it was the sporty luxury car that your dad bought to celebrate his raise. And in 2017, it is the $989 Craigslist car that your dad bought to celebrate getting his ankle bracelet off.
No AC and its speed, it's a Concorde, and no one knows how fast it goes.
Chrysler Concorde, the car for police scanner dad. Uh-oh, there's a fire in Palmerton. The Chrysler Concorde was produced from 1993 until 2004, and it took over the C-body Chrysler New Yorker as the company's entry-level full-size sedan, which was eventually replaced by the Chrysler 300. The Concorde made use of the LH platform, while the K platform, the K car, Dodge Aries, Plymouth Reliant, had pulled Chrysler's ass out of the fire just a few years earlier, was fast becoming an outdated platform that Lee Iacocca was unwilling to cut loose. There was a lot of internal friction stemming from executives who felt Iacocca had overstayed his welcome as the chairman of the company. Sure, he was the one who spearheaded the government loans that saved Chrysler from bankruptcy, but people were beginning to see him as the solution to a short-term problem and not a long-term answer to the question of Chrysler's stability. And it didn't help that Chrysler was acquiring debt like a landlord acquires keys. They purchased Lamborghini, American Motors, and Maserati, but they failed to come up with anything that could hang with the Ford Taurus. Yes, there was the exquisite first-gen Neon, but that was an economy car, not a mid-sized family car. Chrysler Concorde, the official car of, I don't want a chip on my debit card, that's how they get you. So top-level executives panicked because these were men who mostly weren't used to being jobless and poor. They weren't familiar with the struggle of butter sandwiches and brown water baths. So they convinced Iacocca to step down from being the chairman in 1992, only for him to choose someone other than Bob Lutz to take over. Lutz was the head of global product development, and he was pretty much the heir apparent that everybody expected to become the new boss. But Lutz and Iacocca weren't getting along at the time Iacocca retired, so he went with Bob Eaton, who had been president of General Motors Europe. Years later, Iacocca expressed regret that he didn't choose Lutz. But you know what they say, thinking before acting is wisdom, and acting before thinking is regret, and something about horseshoes and hand grenades. Chrysler Concorde, the official car of Mega Millions, and powdered mashed potatoes, and Ham's beer. Anyway, Eaton gave designers unprecedented leeway to implement new ideas, and the result? The LH platform, which was modeled after the Eagle Premier, which itself was derived from American Motors and Renault engineering. Chrysler Concorde, the car for you if your dress pants are black jeans. The LH platform mounted the engine longitudinally, but retained the traditional front-wheel drive drivetrain, like a Saab 900. It also utilized a cab-forward design that minimalized the amount of space the actual hardware would take up, meaning the engine, and maximized the amount of space the driver and passengers had. Now, this lengthened the car's wheelbase and made the ride smoother than a gigolo's taint. Granted, it's not as if Chrysler invented the cab-forward design, considering imports had been using it for a while by that point, but no one in the United States had applied this design to a full-size car. Chrysler Concorde, the official car of turning all the gym TVs from sports to network news and then parking yourself on the center treadmill and waiting for somebody to come by so you can look over and say, "Can you believe this?" The LH platform was a tremendous success, and coupled with the acquisition of AMC's Jeep brand, as well as the rise of the minivan, Chrysler was strutting like Disco Stew, all the way into the mid-90s economic boom, by which point Chrysler had his pants down and his Viper dick out and became one of the most successful automakers in the world. Yeah, that was Chrysler's high point for sure. This particular Concorde sports a 3.2-liter V6 with 24 valves making 225 horsepower. It's got dual bench seats thanks to a center console that flips up to form a third seat up in the front. It's a car that offers Boscov's sense of luxury. It's a car that screams, efforts have been made. I mean, look at it. It's trying to create something with cross-market appeal. Chrysler ended up crafting a car that's nuttier than a circus elephant's dump. It was destined to become a future regular car because a car like this was never going to keep its value, unfortunately. The entire Concorde line is sponsored by diminishing returns. I mean, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. I mean, look at it. This is a smooth design. There's none of this Sonic the Hedgehog styling or weird tech, and there's no angular. Everything's smooth out. This is the height of 90s aerodynamics. I mean, besides the fact that the owner put fog lights here, that sort of ruins it, but... Ooh. But the Chrysler Concorde fell a long way. Dan has owned the car for 3 years now, and this car was up on blocks for 8 years, like a college dropout, until Dan was old enough to drive. Then his dad gave him the parts and said that if he could get this car working again, it was his. Sort of like that AutoZone commercial where the kid finds this dusty old car sitting on the side of the road like an asshole, and then this little shit gets it working with the help of employees who are rarely that knowledgeable in real life. I mean, if you walk into a retail auto parts store and believe the clerks are real mechanics, you deserve any advice they give you. Chrysler Concorde. The car for you if you know the daily price of copper. The Concorde has been in Dan's family ever since it was new, from his grandmother to his uncle to his cousin to his sister to him. And his brother is likely gonna inherit it next. Not to get all Old Testament with this genealogy, but this is to explain just why this car has had so many problems, because this car has had more problems than Jay-Z. And each repair took this car further and further away from its wannabe luxury in identity, in much the same way that Facebook changes with every friend request. Because the more friends you have, the less likely the people you know tab will be filled with people you may know. This Concorde once had an issue where it would stall if idled for more than 5 minutes. It went through 4 serpentine belts, and it's to the point where Dan carries 2 spares in the trunk at all times, just in case. The air conditioning doesn't work, except for that one time when Dan recharged the AC only for the cabin to fill with black smoke. He waited for the belt to melt a bit, and then he pulled it off because, of course, it was the belt. And this wasn't even the only time it caught fire. The engine bay lit up like the eyes of a child walking in on his parents banging for the first time. Turns out the radiator split like a teenage father, so Dan had to put it out with a floor mat. This Concorde was pretty much the movie Backdraft on 4 wheels. And that's not even all. For a while, Dan drove it on 2 cylinders due to a bad fuel pump. There was also the issue of the car occasionally spraying fluids everywhere, like a potty training toddler, and if there was an automotive version of AA for cars addicted to having problems, the Chrysler would hardly get its 30-day chip before it needed to be repaired again. Chrysler Concorde, brought to you by synthetic weed. But there's a silver lining. This is the car that taught Dan to love cars. And every car guy who works on his own car will tell you, even if it was a pain in the ass that was more trouble than it was worth, you always loved the car you first learned how to repair. Chrysler Concorde. The car that shows up when you answer the Craigslist ad titled, "Wanted, broken lawnmowers, cash paid." And as the guy's dropping your seized Scott brand lawnmower into the Concorde's trunk, he looks at you dead in the eyes and says,
"Hey, got any baby clothes you don't want anymore?"
Chrysler Concorde. The chariot of this guy. Hey man, do you have a moment? Can I have a moment of your time? The lady inside, I forgot my license. The lady inside won't sell me any beer. All I want is a 12-pack of Miller High Life. Here's $20. Can you go get me? Hey, where are you going? Come on, I thought you were neighborly. Hey man, you got a minute. I'm just trying to get some beer inside. I don't have my license. Can you just, where you going? Hey man, help a brother out.
Oh, no more car shows with my bros. I need somewhere to go with my Concorde. Oh, all my old serpentine belts, the fires made them melt on my Chrysler. Oh, you have a way with cars. You find out what to fix till you know